Welcome to this edition of Robb's Review, The Bottom Line. Because it was my legislation that proposed a new central library to the Library Facility Master Plan, I'm being interviewed today by my good friend, host and producer of FGTV, Fulton County's television station, to provide you why my vision was to build a new central library in downtown Atlanta. Libraries serve as engaging centers in which people of all ages can connect through lifelong learning. They also serve as places together to learn, to study, and explore. In many ways, today's libraries represent the crossroads of communities, offering opportunities to attend special events, take classes, and meet with friends and neighbors, as well as to enjoy quiet reading and access to multimedia technology and resources. So, when we return, I will provide you with why I propose the building of a new central library to the Library Master Plan.
Welcome back to Robb's Review. I'm Lynn Vaughn. No, your eyes are not playing tricks on you. We have switched seats because I'm interviewing Commissioner Robb Pitts, District 2 at large, regarding the building of a new central library in downtown Atlanta. So, Commissioner Pitts, nice to be here with you.
Great to be with you.
Tell me why you proposed the idea of a new central library.
Well, when it was decided that we would put the issue of a new library system before the voters, one of the things that was missing from my perspective was the fact that there was nothing that dealt with a new central library. And I've been fortunate enough to travel all over the world throughout my political and professional career, and
Which
really
has
noticed.
Been long and storied, by the way.
Thank you. That's very, very kind. But one of the things that you notice is that in most great cities, there's a very spectacular library that's the center of the town. We didn't have that here. No disrespect to the current facility, but I thought that this was something that we should consider. So at that point, I went to the Board of Trustees to ask them to consider it. They agreed to add it to what was already the Library Facility Master Plan. Then I took it to the Board of Commissioners, asked that they do so. So they also agreed to put the new central library as a part of the plan that was already in place. So that's exactly how it came about, with the support of the Board of Trustees and the Board of Commissioners. And the great news is, when it went before the voters in 2008, it was overwhelmingly approved by the voters of Fulton County, even in the midst of what was some say another depression, but certainly the biggest recession since the Great Depression.
And I don't think we've had anything like that passed by that margin since then.
And probably will never have anything like that again. And that really spoke to how the people in Fulton County, North County, Central County, and South County, how they really feel about libraries and learning.
Absolutely. Well, did you have to twist any arms, or did everybody jump on board when you proposed the idea of adding the central branch to the system?
Well, to be very honest with you, I didn't really have to twist any arms, but it wasn't unanimous from the point of view of my colleagues on the commission. You know, sometimes it takes vision to understand these things, and I'm one of the people who likes to say, well, why not do something, as opposed to, well, we can't do this. I saw it as something that was going to be very beneficial to Atlanta and subsequently to Fulton County, and in the final analysis, the Board of Trustees again, and the Board of Commissioners and the people. And the point I need to emphasize here too, what was on the ballot was the construction of a brand new central library, and not the renovation of the existing library. The existing library was designed by a well-known architect, no doubt about that. And there's some history and a lot of strong feelings about that. But the truth of the matter is, and not only in my opinion, but the opinion of lots of people, it looks like a prison or a jail. It's not welcoming. Even when you walk down the stairs here now, it's old, it's outdated. Again, designed by a great architect, but certainly not in line with what's going on with libraries worldwide now.
Well, now, you know, we are living in an era when we don't do anything but talk about taxpayer dollars and how the taxpayer dollars are being spent, and that's a legitimate concern. So how will this be paid for? What part is in the bond referendum, and is there any money to be raised?
Well, actually, what the voters voted for was a referendum that included $275 million to be paid for from bond funds. It was a two-phased program. First phase would include the construction of 8 brand new libraries countywide and 2 major expansions. Second phase would include 22 or 23 renovations plus the brand new central library. Of the $275 million bond referendum that was approved, $85 million of that was earmarked specifically for the construction of a brand new downtown central library. $85 million for the construction of a brand new downtown central library. And I say that because it comes up,
yes.
Why not renovate the existing one? That's not what the voters voted for. They voted for a brand new one. So that's $85 million. And the other part of it, though, was we has not been defined yet. We are to raise an additional up to about $50 million. And I don't think that's an unsurmountable task. Here's why. We have $85 million already. And I was aware of another $27 million from the Beltline that we could use. Now, you talk about transparency, but sometimes in politics you have to be sort of skillful when you open things up and bring people into this discussion. So I was aware of this $27 million. And at the proper time, I pointed that out to my colleagues on the commission and explained to them that this money is set aside for library uses. So I got them to agree that that $27 million would also go towards the construction of this brand new facility. So you have the $85 million plus the $27 million. That's 112, I think, right? If my math serves me correctly. That 27 then leaves from the 50 that we're to raise, it leaves about a $33 million shortfall. If we sell this existing facility, that's another 10 or 12 million. So the shortfall then in the final analysis only about, in the 20, 25, even $30 million range. And that's nothing to raise in a community like ours. And I will point to, when I say that with all sincerity and all confidence that we will be able to raise that money. And here's why. Just for example.
Okay.
Mr. and Mrs. Lloyd Whitaker recently, they gave $10 million for their interest in relocating is a better word, the cyclorama from Grant Park to the Atlanta History Center. So there must be 200 or 300 other Mr. and Mrs. Lloyd Whitakers around, plus private corporations who I think will step forward at the right time.
Well, that was my next question. I mean, the landscape of downtown Atlanta has changed so much. We have so many additional beautiful buildings. How has the business community responded, or how do you think the business community will respond to this?
Well, we actually have not, as a group, gone to the business community yet. I've gone to talk with individuals who are very excited about this, and they agree with me that we won't have no problem at all in raising whatever that shortfall is. From individuals, a family, a foundation, or private corporations. And of course, there's always naming rights. People love to have their names associated with facilities like this. In fact, from an attendance point of view, there are approximately 3 million visitors to our library system each year, and 600,000, at least 600,000 to the downtown facility. So that's very attractive to a corporation that's out there that would want his or her name, or its name rather, associated with it. And if it's from an individual or a family, you name the family to have it, and that happens in a lot of cases. So I'm excited about the opportunity that we have here.
And how has the city of Atlanta's leadership, political leadership, warmed up to the idea?
Well, if you start with at the top, Mayor Reed has voiced his support for it. His only proviso or condition to me was it has to be the biggest and the best. And I hate this word, but I can't think of another word to describe it. Iconic. That means like world class. And I share that with him. I think that this library can be, should be, and will be as spectacular as eye-catching as what is proposed for the Falcons' new stadium. I want it to be such that from the exterior, that when someone comes to Atlanta to visit, just to visit or to attend the convention, that it will be so spectacular, so well promoted that that's one of the facilities here that they'll have to visit.
Okay. This is Robb's Review, the bottom line. I'm Lynn Vaughn. We'll have more with District 2 Commissioner Pitts right after this. Welcome back to Robb's Review, the bottom line. I'm Lynn Vaughn, and we're talking with Commissioner Robb Pitts about the new Central Library. One of the big questions is, what kind of building do you envision?
Well, let's talk about the architecture, the
Okay.
exterior versus the interior. And again, I think to use Mayor Reed's term, it should be and will be iconic, meaning eye-catching, world-class, that will compete with the best in the world. And from a design point of view, I mean, I'm not an architect, but what I do know is when I see something that's eye-catching, and that's what we're talking about. And if you look around,
So I think that means we're leaning more toward modern design.
well, that's I don't like
Yeah,
the
I'm with you
traditional
on
look,
that
and,
one,
and
yes.
because Atlanta,
Yes.
you know, if you look at most of our
We're a new city.
architecture, we're new, and most of our architecture is futuristic. And I'll go back to the Braves' new stadium. When you look at that design, there's nothing like that anywhere in the world.
Correct.
So I would think and hope that the design of this new library is going to at least equal what the new Falcons Stadium is going to look like. And there are examples all over the world, even in this country,
Well, I was
for
gonna ask,
example.
in your
like
travels-
Nashville, Seattle,
Yes.
Minneapolis, around in this country. But worldwide, in Europe in particular, and Asia, there are libraries that will just, to use a very trite expression, that will just blow your mind when you see. You can't believe that it's a library, but that's how they're designed. They're designed to be appealing. They're designed to be eye-catching and to make you just wonder what's going on inside of this facility.
And what kind of new and special things might you envision to be inside the library?
Well, obviously there will continue to be, you know, the books and magazines, all of the stuff that we, you know, are accustomed to, that we grew up going to libraries to see. But going forward, though, it will be heavy with technology, because that's just
That's where we
the
are.
wave of the future. I mean, you may be even, in some cases, this is already the case. You can just punch in what you want, and your book or your magazine will come to you on a like a conveyor belt. So that's the kind of technology. But there will also be, you know, meeting rooms, maybe labs, for computer labs, for education. And one of the big things here we're looking at will be some retail space, whether it's a coffee shop or a wine bar in downtown. Now, let's think about it. With all of the students downtown, all of the new people, because the demographics of downtown Atlanta is changing. With all of the students here, with all of the young professionals working downtown, why not stop in for your coffee, whatever the brand name is, or some name we never even heard of yet, or a glass of wine to read the paper, just to relax and meet friends. Also, I think that with the Civic Center now being up for sale, that size concert type venue will be missing in downtown Atlanta. So I envision the possibility as well of an auditorium that could be used for plays and something of that nature as well. And the biggie that I would just propose and throw out, you may or may not know, and the viewers may or may not know, that I've been involved with the governor, the mayor, Joel Katz, and a couple of other people, Dr. Bobby Bailey, trying to relocate the Georgia Music Hall of Fame from Macon, Georgia. That closed back in 2011, I believe.
Yes, 2011.
And because, well, first of all, it never should have gone to Macon, but then Zell Miller had to make a political deal to get something for something he wanted, so that's why it went there. But Macon, that's almost my home city, and they hate me down there because we closed. Yeah. But it was never going to generate the type of traffic that facility will generate here. So my thought is, and it's not up to me, but it's certainly, I think, worthy of consideration, that why not fold in the Georgia Music Hall of Fame as a part of this new downtown magnificent library, where you're charging an admissions, and it becomes a revenue generating operation as well, in addition to the retail. So just think about that.
Two things come to mind when you say that, and I'm wondering if you agree. Number one, much of the music industry has relocated to Atlanta, particularly the young people, and also the names of the famous people we have in the Georgia Music Hall of Fame. I mean, it sounds phenomenal.
That's the point. Right here, top convention city in the world, busiest, biggest, and the best, and I always say the baddest airport in the world. So we got the traffic here.
Yes,
so just think, when people come to downtown Atlanta with the existing attractions, World of Coca-Cola, the Civil and Human Rights Museum, the College Football Hall of Fame, what did I say, Aquarium?
Aquarium, Children's Museum,
all of that stuff.
Everything.
Then the new Falcon Stadium.
Oh.
Then you
talk about iconic.
Exactly. And then you throw this in. I mean, you can spend 2 or 3 days just in downtown Atlanta. And when you get something like that for conventioneers, businessmen and women who come, who bring their families, there then is another reason to stay that extra day, and that's a multiplier from an economic point of view. So I think, and I hate this win-win-win stuff, but this really is. When you factor this new library in, the other thing that the mayor sort of beat me to the punch on, well, I'll go back to when I was a young running for office my first year. One of the things that I had proposed even back then was relocating the cyclorama from Grant Park to downtown. I got in trouble with a lot of people about that, but the cyclorama was almost like an afterthought being in the zoo, because people, you don't really go there for that reason.
No.
So, but
some people don't even know it's there.
Exactly, but if it's downtown, and now it's not going to be downtown, it's going to be at the Atlanta History Center, but that's better than Grant Park.
Right.
But my original thought was to have the cyclorama on one end, the Georgia Music Hall of Fame on the other end, and the library in the middle. And just think about that, how wonderful that would have been. But cyclorama's gone now, but we still have the makings of, I think, of just a new cultural center in downtown Atlanta, and it will be a cultural center.
Are there any locations that come to mind, anything that appeals to you right now?
Well, I think the referendum only calls for a downtown location. And speaking of that, the board approved directing the county manager and the purchasing department to solicit proposals for a consultant to come in to help with what should the interior look like, those components that I talked about before, and anything else that's modern and futuristic, because we're building this thing not only for today, but for 50 years out. So there are experts out there who only think about stuff in the future. So that's what we hope to get back, hopefully in the next 30 to 60 days. And at that point, we'll have a much better idea of what the interior of it should look like.
Let's talk a little bit for the viewers about how libraries have changed since I was first going to the library back in elementary school, certainly. What's the experience like now, and what do you want this new one to be like?
Well, I think you'll still have the basics, the books and the magazines and research and all of that. But I think it'll be much more, there'll be a lot more technology, there'll be a lot more learning opportunities for people who don't, because everybody doesn't have access to a computer.
Correct.
So, and that's a big use in other parts of the world, where people who come in who do not have access to, seniors in particular, do not have access to computers. They come to their public libraries for things like that. So I say it been heavy on technology, heavy on the retail, and of course I forgot to mention the parking as well. That was been one of the complaints. But that's also one of the reasons why we wanted it sort of in close proximity to a MARTA station. And so once we get this consultant study back, then one of the thoughts is to just ask the leading developers of libraries in the world, what would you do in Atlanta that you haven't done someplace else? And because see, the other thing is, we're not broke. In other words, we're not starting from the point of view having $0.
Right.
We have the 85 million plus the 27 million plus that 10 from the sale of the existing, 10 plus from the sale of the existing facility, naming rights, and donations from private families, corporations, or philanthropic organizations. So we're not broke.
Right, and nor are we starting from scratch
That's-
with the resources already in the library.
That's
I mean,
correct.
This is one of the most popular library systems in the country.
That's also correct. People don't realize that unless you utilize the library, a lot of businessmen and women in other cities, because they're inviting. And you know, just look at the construction that's taking place now, not only from a residential point of view, but
Yes.
from a commercial point of view. People want to get out of their offices and come to a place that's going to be inviting and warm and open and friendly, where they can talk and have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine after work and just relax. So it's going to be a town center, if you will, where young and old, rich and poor, and all those other, you know, distinctions that we make among people
Well,
can
in
come.
the time we have left, what year would you like to see this completed?
Well, I mean, from a practical point of view, I would think that it'll be into next year, 2015, before we would get to the, you know, the architectural aspect of it. So you're looking at probably, you know, 2016, 2017 max. And wouldn't it be wonderful to have this coming on stream about the same time as the as Mr. Blank and his new Falcon say?
I don't know if we can stand all of the
It's
excitement.
going to be fantastic.
Well,
Yeah,
Commissioner
so-
Pitts, thank you so much for sharing, first of all, for having the vision and for sharing the information that you have today about that vision.
I mean, hopefully you can feel my passion for it, but it's not just me. And whoever is in place at the time that this comes, I think here's an opportunity for the Library Board of Trustees, and we have a bunch of dedicated people serving on that board. They've seen this thing through since 2008, and I'm hoping they're going to stay in place and to see it through. And then you have a board of commissioners. I think that, and hopefully they will I know that Commissioner Garner does, because it's in her district, and she is passionate about this, as passionate as I am about it. So I think the leadership is going to be there to see it through.
Okay. Well, when we come back, the bottom line.
The Atlanta Fulton Library System serves nearly 1 million people in Fulton County and Atlanta and DeKalb County, with 34 libraries. We offer innovative programs, services, and technology to meet our community's needs, but we can be so much more. Our average circulation is approximately 3.2 million materials per year. More than 3 million people visit our 34 libraries, with close to 600,000 to the Central Library alone. We offer over 7,000 enrichment programs. Our website had over 5 million hits. Patrons were provided with over 1.8 million sessions on computers. Think of the Central Library as a hub, the branch libraries its spokes, working as one to serve communities, build minds, help students grow businesses, and expand futures for all. For good reasons, a new urban library would be the cornerstone to a vital downtown for years to come. Our city deserves it now more than ever. It's the neighbor we all want to have. This is Robb's Review, The Bottom Line. I hope to see you the next time.